A little fucked up video to stir some shells. Also, you almost saw me with my hair done. Haha, you were this close to seeing me all dolled up and everything, but I had to pass out after eating a bunch of Korean fried chicken, and I don't know what the fuck my headscarf went. I don't know what the fuck happened. Why are some parts defined and why are some parts not? I don't get it. I don't know. I don't care. In the comedy scene in my local area, like, mostly everybody knows everybody. It's kind of rare that they don't. It's a small but still, like, pretty fun scene, or at least it was. But let's just say, every time I go to an open mic or some sort of showcase just to support, I love comedy shows. I do. I think they're funny as fuck. I love to sit front row and I love to help people out. Especially because, like if I get there early and they're doing mic checks, I'll let them know how loud they need to go. Like if the audio is muffled or if it's good. If a comedian's on stage and they're doing that thing where they're pressing the fucking mic to their lips hella close, I'm gonna be giving them hand signals to like lower that shit until they do. And then lo and behold, they start noticing the audience can laugh because now they understand what the fuck you're saying. And then if people ask for my honest opinion on their set, like I'll tell them like, you know, I'm a relatively honest person and I don't have to like deliver my what I say in a super mean way. So if someone comes up to me and they're like, "Hey, be really honest with me. How do you think I did? Like, how do you really really think I did?" I will be like, "I thought you were like extremely anxious up there. We could tell. Like it was like a lot, but at the same time, you did nail your material down perfectly. Like you nailed it all off the bat. Like we could tell you were nervous, but you really just like you remembered all your shit, you executed it well, and the crowd still laughed regardless. So I thought you actually did really fucking great. Like if anything, you just gotta work on your confidence. That's the only thing you're missing. And then if they really want to know in depth, then I'll be like, oh, maybe this joke could be like timed a little bit different, or you could toss in this one little line, or like, hey, this joke is cool. It just needs more time to bake and cook. Like there's like more potential to be had from this subject that you could go into. Don't like just like actually this one guy, I remember he told me a joke. He has this joke on stage where he talks about like how his grandmother and his aunt, like great aunt, like were married to the same guy. And so it's like technical incest. And at some point me and him were talking about it in the DMs. I was like, that's a good ass joke. And then I made the joke, hey, they're kind of Eskimo sisters if you think about it. He was like, holy shit, that's good. Can I steal that? I said, yeah, go ahead and take it. Fuck it, dude. I'm happy to workshop it with you more. And then he was like, actually, now that you mention it, and he shot me a few more jokes, and I was like, hey, yeah, like, and I told him this joke that you've said on stage, it's great, but I feel like there is more in depth you could go. And I showed him certain angles. I was like, ooh, like like think about it, like usually just say like one or two lines about it and then move on from the topic, but it's a really interesting topic. So it's kind of like the equivalent of jerking someone off and then stopping like maybe like 3 minutes into a really great hand job when you know it needs like more time for the person to bust. Like you don't want to deliver that in comedy. Like, it doesn't mean you have to delve deep into every single topic and like overkill it, but there is a balance. Because then I told him, like, there's a lot of things you could joke about with that. Like, how is the wedding like? And like, did people compare the first wedding to the second wedding with the sister? How is the bond like in your family after that? Were Thanksgivings weird? Like, did they have kids with each other, and how did that go? Like, were they just pitting their little sister, cousin, kids, whatever the fuck you call them, against each other? Like, because if you think about it, if either did have kids, it would be like siblings and cousins. Ooh, that is kind of incesty. And he was like, actually, I'm really glad you told me this because now I know to delve deep more into this topic and see what I can do to expand the joke. Thank you. And I was like, absolutely. And I love to support people because it's like, how do I put this? To get on stage and like actually have a mic in your hand and like you're just standing there and like either at an empty bar or empty venue, and or maybe it's a full house but then total fucking silence, or people aren't paying attention to you because they're looking at football or just zoning out or they don't give a fuck. There's a lot of factors to why a comedy set would not go well. So I value the importance of being one of the people who where it's like I'm sitting in front. If you do crowd work, I'm gonna be quick on my feet to respond so that you don't have like an awkward silence or don't really know have any more confidence in your set. And oh my god, I swear to fucking god, dude. Last night I went to a comedy showcase. And this one guy, I didn't like, he was a little slightly rude to me before we went in, but I sat in the audience and he said something like, oh, so out of curiosity, Like, who here learned something about themselves over the past 4 years? Who here has? And then it was just like 8 seconds of just total silence. Like, fuck. And that felt like an eternity. And he wasn't letting it go. So eventually I raised my hand because I thought, okay, I got a fun answer. He said, "You, what did you learn?" I said, "I'm a gold digger." And then the whole crowd erupted in laughter and fell the fuck out. And he caught that shit well, too. He was like, "Okay, I was gonna say, meet me after the show, but never mind, fellas, watch out." And then, like, and then spirits got lifted. And then he was able to deliver the rest of his set more confidently and shit. And hey, now I have a fun memory, too. Like, crowd work is so fucking fun. I love comedians, I love comedy, and I love people who, like, you really gotta put some skin in the game. You have to have the confidence. You have to have the jokes, the grit. It takes a lot of hard work and dedication and effort. Like, you really, really, really have to nail it. But I swear to fucking God, dude. Yeah, it's just like if I'm seated in an audience, why would I not try to make it an enjoyable experience for me and also for the comic? Why would I just want to sit there in silence? And like, I've seen sets where people like can have a full, yeah, it was a full house last night and no one wanted to like bother to say anything for crowd work at all. That's pathetic. I don't know. And simply put, it's like if you paid money for tickets and food, and why would you want to put yourself in a situation to even have awkwardness, at all? But I get it. Some people have the mindset of, oh, but I would feel awkward if I if I said something and the comedian didn't like it. Yeah, I know how that feels, but it's okay. Usually the comedian, if they're good, they catch it and roll with it. Like last winter, I was at this one open mic. This one comedian, he's super funny, very sweet guy. I'm still, like, he's a lovely fellow. He on stage was like, okay, who here did something fun for New Year's Eve? And then me, I don't know, I didn't expect him to actually be calling on people. I thought he was just saying it. Sometimes comedians just say shit to segue into a joke. He picked on me and said, "You, what did you do for fun on New Year's Eve?" I panicked and floundered, and then I said, uh, video games. And then he said, "Yeah, video games, okay." And then he caught that shit and flowed with this amazing, like, really, really long joke story about, like, how he loved video games and board games, and how board games are like sex in a way. Or, like, the difference between, like, female and male anatomy is kind of like playing a video game versus playing a board game. It was a very funny joke. And I felt nervous, but guess what? It's like most people weren't thinking, oh, damn, she was awkward and floundering. Most people were like, this guy's telling a really funny joke about video games now because she managed to have that little half second of awkward, or 2 seconds, 3 seconds of awkwardness. It doesn't really matter how many seconds, but just a long, seconds can be a long time in the comedy scene because they only get 5 minutes. So if you get 5 minutes and then someone's taking like 8 seconds to respond to crowd work, it's awkward. Feels like 10 years. Anyway, I'll say this. And then at some other point, funny enough, the same guy, he did more crowd work. He said, like, what's everyone's New Year's resolutions? I raised my hand again. He was like, what's your New Year's resolution? I said, stop fucking broke men. He said, what? I said, stop fucking broke men. And the crowd was like, woo! Yeah, girl. And then the comedian, he was like, so I assume that this has been a problem for you then, like a real problem. You've had sex with men who are broke. And I said, yep, sadly. And then he looked at me and said, so I am a broke man. And then, like, the whole crowd lost their shit. It was amazing. It was a masterpiece. And I don't know. I love comedians. I love to support them. I love to, like, how do I put this? If someone's trying their best to make people laugh and feel good, like, yeah. Like, it can be very grueling, very unrewarding in some ways. But funny enough, this same comedian, he actually was amongst many people who have asked me, Tamia, why don't you do comedy? Why haven't you gotten on the mic yet? And I remember, yes, I remember this exact night with this same guy. Funny enough, the same guy, I'm not going to say his name for privacy reasons. He was at the showcase last night and at that open mic a year ago. But at a separate open mic in the area, he was performing and I was the only audience member because, yeah, I wanted to support the comics and I knew that no one else was really showing up but me. And I like to see people grow as artists and gain more confidence and try new deliveries with their jokes and stuff. He looks at me and he's like, so, what's your name again? I say Tam. He's like, oh, okay, Tam. Out of curiosity, like, are you a comic or are you just an audience member? And then this has been a debate with many, many people in so many ways. I try to fix my mouth to, like, I kind of like, audience, and then, like, no. Like, 4 fucking people yell from the crowd, she's a comic! She's a fucking comic! She's gone on a mic before! And then another dude was like, yeah, she's gone on a mic like once or twice. Like, we've seen her do it. And I was like, fuck! I was like, don't rat me out, no! Because you know what happens? People, oh man. It's like something happens in the comedy scene out here where if you say that you're just an audience member who loves and supports comedy, it, like, they will be desperately trying to get you to become a comedian for some reason, to make you one of them. I don't know. And then, like, even because once they learned I had been on the mic once and flopped, and it was truly just to do a favor to a friend, because a friend of mine, he was nervous. He was like, I want to be a comic, but I don't know. I might get up tonight, might not. I said, okay, like, you're going to get up last? He said, maybe. I said, what's it going to take for you to, like, 100% get up? He said, I need someone to go on stage and fucking bomb like shit. And if they bomb so bad, then I know I have a chance and I can just go up and look good in comparison. I volunteered. I signed up. I went on stage, told some jokes that were not fucking funny to these audience members. I mean, it was, or not even audience, it was just a room full of comics. I was the only single audience member amongst, other than like one guy with the mustache sitting at the bar. It was fun. And then guess what? My buddy still didn't go up. I fucking went up to him and I said, "You're a fucking pussy," because I like, and he tried to make excuses. He's like, I have to be at work, blah blah blah. I said, that's a fucking excuse, and you know it. You had time to get on that mic. You had time to tell jokes. You had time. And instead, my ass, with no comedic experience, at least in that department of stand-up, and like a bunch of jokes that I wrote on my notes app when I was shitting, taking a shower, or masturbating, I still got up there and did my shit. You have a lot of material. Like, you have to, like, you're in a room full of people who know you, have seen you perform all this. You have to stop being so afraid. Anyway, this is just me setting the scene, by the way. That's just for text. If you haven't noticed, I sometimes do Pulp Fiction style storytelling. Just, I don't know. So, strap in, baby. So, what happened is, this happened like months later, aka sometime this year. I went to this one comedy spot for their open mic, and then the comedian, the one I said that I see everywhere, he was like, out of curiosity, have you ever, are you a comic or are you an audience member? I tried to say I was an audience member, but my face twitched and I paused. And then the other people were like, she's a fucking comic. She's got on stage before. And and I just was like, fuck, don't snitch on me. And then the specific comic who was holding the mic at the time, he was like, I could tell too because the way you paused and like you definitely told on yourself. But he said, "So why don't you do it?" I said, "It's just not my cup of tea. I don't know. It's like it doesn't I don't know." But he said, "Honestly, I think you would have a real chance at it. I think you would have real potential because the thing about the comedy scene." And he told me this in front of all these people, and like there's like 25 other comics there. He was like, "The thing about the comedy scene is that you're gonna have to deal with nights where it's like entirely empty venues like this, where it's like just one single person or no people, or a full room of people and none of them are listening to you, or they're all staring at you and none of them are laughing, but they're listening to you, and you're gonna just get on stage at all these different rooms and places and meet weird people and bomb, 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 bomb. And you can tell we're really sick fucks because we really, really, really love to bomb. Like, you could tell we really have skin in this game and love it despite how terrible it is, because it's so terrible and unrewarding that we keep doing it. But you know what? Like, let's say you go to like 57 places and no one laughs, but once you hit the 58th spot and you finally get that chuckle, or you finally get that room full of people lighting you up your spirit with a huge laugh, you're going to feel overwhelming euphoric joy. And that's what keeps us coming back. We're addicted to it. We're addicted to that high, and we'll chase it as many times as we can get. And tons of comics in the room started clapping and cheering for him when he said that. And he said, so I really implore you to one day give it a chance, because I think you would love to chase that high like the rest of us, and it would really be so, so rewarding. Like, you seem like a really funny person. It would be great to see what you can do. And honestly, after that little speech he gave me, I did kind of think to myself, you know what? Yeah, I did remember that when I did my little open mic for my buddy Seamus, you know, the one who was afraid to get on the mic and still didn't, who I had to call a pussy. I remember that I went to two mics that night. The first mic was just me doing a favor to Seamus. The second mic was because I thought I could make friends, because people from the first mic were like, do it again, and I was like, you didn't laugh the first time. Why would you want to see that a second time? And they said, well, it's good to try, and come on, you'll hang out with us. And so I was like, I'll do it for the sake of friendship. And then I went to the second mic. I did bomb several times, but I did tell a few jokes that actually got people laughing. I said one specific joke that was like, ooh, the prison reform system is really fucking stupid, and it's meant just to like shovel people into prison without any chance of reform, because then they'll get back out in society, and what the fuck can happen? They don't have the resources or skills to do anything. And some people like cheered and clapped for that because, even though it wasn't a joke, I was speaking facts. And then I said, that would be like if someone in Phineas and Ferb was like, okay, cool, we just captured Dr. Doofenshmirtz. He's gonna finally stop terrorizing the tri state area with his wacky inventions that never work. So, to really show him how to be a good person, we're going to lock him in a cell with Homelander and Hitler. And then that actually got a huge fucking laugh, and like a bunch of people laughed at that shit. And that did feel like, oh fuck. I actually got caught off guard. I was like, what the fuck? People laughed after all that silence, and I blushed like hell. That was great. It was very euphoric, you know. I do still get a little annoyed though, some because anytime I have told people that I'm just an audience member, but I do support comedy, and I've gotten on a mic once, but only as a favor. Like, they usually do tell me, oh, you shouldn't have told me that, because now I'm going to pester you to get on the mic any chance I can, because now I want to see you perform. And I think you should do it again and not give up. And it's like, I didn't want to do it in the first... okay. But then they'll tell me, or they'll be like, why don't you want to do stand-up comedy? And there's no good way to say, hi, I'm way too fucking good to... I don't know, there's better things to do with my time than sit in an empty bar and embarrass myself in front of a bunch of people who don't give a fuck about what I'm saying over and over and over. Like, that's just my mindset. But comics will be a little hurt if you tell them that to their face. But at the same time, eh, it's like some of them are unrelentless. But and even then, some people forget that. I won't even tell people that I'm a comic. I'll just tell people that I support the comedy scene and make like little comedy YouTube videos sometimes. And they'll be like, hey, same thing. Come on, do it, do it. And I'll just be like, fuck no. But I guess it's funny. I did meet this one girl in the comedy scene. I don't like her. But, she's a cunt. But our first interaction ever, she did talk to me. And when I told her that I don't do stand up, but I do like online video content, she was like, woof, wow, you're really strong for that. I said, what do you mean? She said, well, like you could get tons of hate. A video could go viral and people could be shitting on you and hating on you. Or like, I don't know. And then it's like, it doesn't seem the most like rewarding because it takes a while to build a following and like this and she listed like her perceived reasons for it. And then funny enough, then I was the one being like, oh well, it's actually not that bad. Like once you start making more content, then you get people to just like stumble on your videos, and then next thing you know, you have like loyal subscribers who watch every video and laugh their ass off or leave supportive comments. And it's actually not as bad as you think. Plus you can always like mute and block people if they piss you off. You can't like mute or block a heckler or like a stalker. And I told her like my perceived reasons for like why stand up is scary. I was like, stand up's even scarier because it's like, I can make a YouTube video in the privacy of my room with fucked up hair and my titties out, and I can just like post it and then forget about it, and it can either go viral or get like one view or a hate comment or a love comment, and life goes on. Sometimes I won't even see either. Or it could be like, how do I put this? Or it could be some but it's like for open mics, it's like you have to like dedicate time and effort and money and driving. Like, people will drive miles away to different cities and then pay for overpriced fucking drink if it means that they can get like 5 minutes to bomb in an empty bar. Or if they have a chance to perform in front of like this person, that person, or the other person. It's like, it's quite tragic. Well, I didn't say tragic to her face, but it's like, it's like, and then there's a lot of nuances. I even explained to her all the little technical, like the things, like someone could not be laughing because their tongue is numb from ice, or because they're too focused on their breakup, or they're zoning out, or they don't like the way the specific timing of your joke, or this, or that. But if I post my videos however I do, it boosts it to an algorithm of people who specifically are like, you know what I need? I need a light skinned chick with fucked up hair telling me like wild stories. And that's usually what happens. And yeah, that's what. But she was like, "Oh, I didn't see it that way." But she was still like, "Yeah, honestly, I still find YouTube is scarier. I don't think I'd ever try it." So I think we have a. Sorry, I ate too much last night. I think we have our own individual niches, and it's very interesting to see like, I don't know, the perceived fears and like things holding people back from doing certain things. Like, if you tell a stand-up comic that they could be really good at making, like, online videos, they'll be like, fuck no, you think I want online harassment and that shit on the internet forever? But then, in my mind, it's like, but is is standing in front of a massive spotlight for like 5 minutes in a room full of people staring into your soul, and you're gonna remember each and every single one of their faces as you like tell jokes from your heart and your soul, and they don't like any of it? Do you really like, But whatever. That's why I respect the comedy scene, because it's a bunch of people going, this is very limited, like it's not quite rewarding. You don't always like get the laugh, you don't even get a crowd, you don't even always get to get a spot on the list for a mic. Sometimes you'll get bumped too, like you'll think you're going to be second on stage, but you're actually going to be 18th now because someone's friend of a friend showed up. And I don't know, it's a lot of intricacies, but overall I have a lot of respect for stand-up comics. It's not for me. I don't believe so. Maybe it could be. I did love Marvelous Miss Maisel. I did think that was an interesting show, and sometimes I do get on stage, I see some people do jokes, and I think, I could do that. But there's also this thing they say where it's like, the world doesn't need two pieces of shit. So you might look at someone bombing on stage and be like, I could do better than that. But it's like, It's like you could probably do slightly better than them, but still be shit. Probably. Yeah. Also, I feel like some people are different types of funny. Some people are a YouTube video skit funny. Some people are a YouTube video long form rant funny. That's me. Some people are TikTok funny. Also me. Some people are like tweet funny, where you can make a funny tweet and it'll go viral because you're able to like execute that one liner good. Some people are, or like maybe you'll say a little tee hee joke on your phone and then you'll think you're stand up funny. Not everyone can be like YouTube funny and Twitter funny, or like TikTok funny and stand up funny. That's why some big people who are famous on TikTok or Instagram or these apps don't get like sold out shows for their stand up, because they're not supposed to be doing stand up. They're supposed to be like doing cameos in movies or something. I just think some people have different niches that they're made for. And for me, it's like, I'm not specifically made to be the person bombing on stage at an empty bar. I'm the one who's supposed to be in the audience supporting them and then letting them know after, like, what jokes were hidden, what jokes weren't, and how I can, like, like, hey, maybe a little bit faster on the timing for this joke. Or, hey, maybe you could consider this. Or just, more confidence and lower your mic. But you did great. And like, I love that I'm able to bond with comics and comedians for that reason. They always convince me to get on a mic, and every single time I'm like, yeah, maybe, knowing damn well I probably will never get on a mic again. But so I still respect and love comedians, and I always will support them. Because it's like, that's a hard thing to do, and why would I not? Like, I want to make sure it's a good time. If you are someone who is strong enough to risk like shame or embarrassment or public scorn or hate, like, people can heckle you or boo you or do weird shit. I've seen it. We don't need more of that. Like, if you're strong enough to get on a fucking mic in a spotlight and say your fucking jokes, you need all the support you can get, dude. Hell yeah. Anyway, I suppose this is just like a little talk video, but yeah, if anything, do I think I'm a little bit too good for a stand-up comedy? I don't think I have the, let's just say I would be shitting my guts out and trying to kill myself if I bombed. So, no offense. Like, I already was kept up at like late at night and having nightmares after I bombed. Some people do not have what it takes, and some people do. Shout out to those who are willing to build up that tolerance and start like, and remember their jokes and can take any heat they get. That's, and make up jokes on the fly even. That's impressive, and you deserve to be rewarded, and I will always love you for that. So I'm meant to support it as much as I can, just from the audience. Peace out.